Hello and welcome to another marvelous video. Warhammer 40,000, also known as Warhammer 40k, is a popular tabletop miniature wargame introduced by Games Workshop in 1987. The game is set in a dystopian future, combining elements of science fiction, fantasy, and horror to craft a dark and enthralling cosmos. Players assume the roles of commanders, leading miniature armies representing different factions in epic battles for control of a war-torn and bleak galaxy. In the expansive realm of Warhammer 40k, the term Xenos encompasses all non-human intelligent species. These Xenos races hold significant importance in shaping the game's narrative and providing diverse challenges to the human-dominated Imperium of Man. Want to know more? Stick with us till the end. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. What the term Xenos means and its implications in Warhammer 40k universe. Xenos is a high Gothic expression employed by the inhabitants of the Imperium of Man, signifying stranger and alien. Within the Adeptus Terra, the term commonly denotes intelligent enemy aliens or non-human forces from off-world. The primary starfaring and intelligent Xenos races in the Milky Way galaxy consist of the Tyranids, Orcs, Tau, Necrons, Drukhari, and craft-world Eldari. However, throughout the extensive expansion of mankind across the stars, there have been numerous other hostile intelligent alien species encountered. The exact moment when the human race discovered the existence of other intelligent species in the galaxy is not recorded anywhere. Early Imperial records indicate that humanity has been engaged in conflicts with Xenos since the age of technology. During this period, the first human interstellar civilization established contact with various alien races, potentially including the Eldari and the Orcs. However, most of these encounters seem to be marked by hostility or an inability to coexist peacefully with humans. As a result, no evidence exists of any aliens willingly integrating into the broader interstellar human civilization during that era. With the onset of the Age of Strife in the 25th millennium, the collapse of the initial human interstellar civilization led to numerous isolated human colonies facing hostile alien incursions. Nevertheless, a few notable exceptions occurred where peaceful coexistence with alien species occurred. Over countless Terran millennia, these scattered outposts of humanity endured predation by various Xenos races, driving the human race toward the brink of extinction. It was only when the Emperor of Mankind revealed his existence and initiated the Great Crusade to reunite humanity under a single interstellar government that the hope for survival resurfaced. The Emperor firmly believed that only through unity, even at significant costs, could mankind endure in a galaxy far more perilous than any earlier human scholars could have imagined. From its inception, the Imperium of Man prioritized the eradication of any alien life forms that posed a threat to humanity. As a result of the young Imperium's constant acts of extermination, several species risked extinction. Even human civilizations encountered during the Great Crusade, like the Interrex and Diasporics, which had successfully integrated alien and human populations, fell victim to this policy. Diplomacy was rarely attempted and mostly reserved for interactions with other human civilizations encountered during the Great Crusade. Some technologically advanced aliens, such as the Eldari, were left undisturbed as long as they did not threaten human interests. The Imperium of Man's extreme xenophobia and call for annihilating all other intelligent species in the galaxy can be partially justified by the aggressive and confrontational nature exhibited by most Xenos races encountered since the Great Crusade. Throughout humanity's exploration of the stars since the Emperor's initial expansion, nearly all encountered alien species have displayed such malevolence or hostility towards humanity that any attempts at negotiation or diplomacy have often been futile. Even in cases where potential common ground existed, such as during the Imperium's first encounter with the human-alien alliance known as the Diasporics, violence would ensue due to the inherent distrust the Imperium harbored toward all alien civilizations. This policy of unconditional animosity continues to persist in the present-day Imperium over 10,000 standard years after the conclusion of the Great Crusade, marked by the Horus Heresy's bloodshed and devastation. Numerous additional extraterrestrial civilizations have been found and exterminated during this considerable time, regardless of their danger level, culture, temperament, or technical achievements. A significant portion of the Imperium, driven by the religious fervor of the Adeptus Ministorum, advocates for the complete extermination of all aliens, including peaceful species. This attitude may look harsh, but the 41st millennium is defined by the concept that ignorance is noble and that raw force is the solution to many issues. In the face of various Xenos dangers throughout the Imperium, some people are prepared to form alliances with aliens out of naivety or despair. These arrangements can appear harmless on the surface, such as engaging in trade to obtain advanced technology, employing alien labor, or seeking the assistance assistance of mercenaries. As a result, within the bustling hive worlds, forbidden markets known as the cold trade thrive, clandestinely dealing in Xenos technology at exorbitant prices. Additionally, the carnivorous Kroot have been compensated with flesh to fight alongside human planetary defense forces, further blurring the lines between alliances and the risks of dealing with alien species. Several Xenos species offer their services as mercenaries to various other races, each with their unique motivations. Some Imperial commanders, lacking moral scruples, are willing to employ these creatures to strengthen their forces, considering them expendable mercenaries with little regard for their fate. Rogue traders and a select few individuals possess the authority to go beyond such limited engagements. Within the boundaries of Imperial law, these men and women are exempt from the usual strictures and feudal obligations of the Imperium. In certain instances, a Xenos ally may develop a close bond and become a trusted companion, valued for its exceptional abilities. Individuals with such trusted Xenos allies may encounter obstacles due to the Imperium's prevailing laws and religious doctrines, which discourage any association with Xenos. To address these challenges, certain regions on the outskirts of the Imperium, like the Coronis Expanse and Calixis sector, have devised a method of legally sanctioning Xenos allies, making it easier for such alliances to operate without infringing on Imperial regulations. These sanctioned Xenos, despite being granted official approval, are still met with caution and hostility by most Imperials. This reaction is not surprising, as even the sanctioned psychers of the Imperium continue to face prejudice due to the prevailing distrust of witches promoted within the Imperium. As long as they remain in the presence of a human ally who can verify their services, backed by ample documentation and consent to being visibly marked as sanctioned, usually through a brand or tattoo on the face or the hands, the Xenos can continue to survive. The permanence of the mark is of little consequence. Without a human employer to vouch for the Xenos, the mark holds no significance. If the Xenos were to stop serving the Imperium, its life would be forfeited anyway, leading to immediate termination. Some current Warhammer 40k Xenos fractions. In the enormous Warhammer 40k world, there are 6 principal Xenos species, as mentioned previously, each having its own narrative background, codex rulebook, and a variety of models. Nevertheless, not all sentient species possess the ambition to dominate the galaxy. Many have faltered, unable to avert their own extinction. Let's take a look at some of them one by one. Eldar. The Eldar, also known as Asuryani or Craftworld Eldari, are an ancient humanoid species in decline, despite having substantially more sophisticated technology than the Imperium. Their physique was slender with pointy ears. The Eldari formerly ruled a galaxy-spanning empire that dwarfed the size and might of the Imperium of Man. They became a population of refugees when the fall of the Eldari destroyed their civilization, with a majority currently living in world ships known as Craftworlds that are circling the galaxy. These Eldari, who call themselves Asuryani, identify as the children of Asurian. Despite their disdain for humanity, whom they refer to as Mon-K, the Asuryani recognize that the demise of their empire paved the way for mankind's rise during the Great Crusade. Nevertheless, they are not adverse to assisting the Imperium and battling common foes like Chaos and the Tyranids whenever it aligns with their own objectives. On the tabletop, there are 3 technically autonomous Eldari armies that players can collect and play, each with its unique army rules and playstyles presented in the 9th edition Eldari Codex. They are Craftworlds, Harlequins, and Ynnari. Drukhari. The Drukhari are terrifying-looking space elves with poisonous fingernails and corsets made of blades. They were formerly known as Dark Eldar and are ancestors of the corrupted and debauched Eldari, whose acts resulted in their race's terrible fall. Evading the fall of their empire, they took shelter in the webway's deepest reaches, where they built a malicious and cruel sanctuary hidden from all prying eyes. Their sustenance derives from absorbing the psychic suffering of their victims and enslaved people, acquired through raids from the webway into real space, capturing beings from various intelligent species across the galaxy. Despite appearing anatomically and technologically identical to the Asuryani of the Craftworlds, the Drukhari's cultural distinctions from their cousins is vast. This distinction often goes unnoticed by humanity, leading to confusion between the 2 Eldari factions. Drukhari armies focus on speed, maneuverability, and devastating melee capabilities on the tabletop, while lacking heavy armor, resilience, and range firepower. They enter the battlefield aboard spine skimmers and nimble jet bikes, but even these vehicles possess minimal armor. Necrons. The Necrons are an exceptionally ancient race, so old that even the Eldari would regard them as archaic. Their technologies are so advanced that the Imperium's most knowledgeable scholars find them incomprehensible. These beings look like metal cyber mummies with luminous green components protruding from their forms. They serve as the primary antagonists of the current version of 40k, making their presence conspicuous on all the game's packaging. The Necrons remained in hibernation within their tomb worlds for countless Terran years. However, in the recent centuries of the 41st millennium, they have started to reawaken. Their primary objective is to ruthlessly slaughter and annihilate the unsuspecting inhabitants of the galaxy with a firm determination to reclaim their long-lost galactic empire and eradicate all lesser races that they see as usurpers of their rightful dominion. During gameplay, Necrons offer a delightfully thematic experience. With their reanimation protocols rule, fallen Necrons have the ability to reassemble and seek vengeance for their own deaths. The living metal attribute enables their robust units to continuously regenerate lost wounds thanks to nanoscarabs promptly repairing the damage. Furthermore, the Necron legions advance in a synchronized, deliberate march, relentlessly firing their neon green Gauss weapons, leaving nothing in their path alive. There has never been a more enticing time to start collecting a Necron army. Tau Empire. The Tau Empire is the galaxy's youngest known Xenos faction, distinguished by its slim, fish-faced, blue-skinned look. Long after humanity, they evolved into a spacefaring society. Originating from the eastern fringe of the galaxy, the Tau have managed to establish a rapidly expanding interstellar empire in just a few Terran centuries. Under the guidance of the enigmatic ethereal castle, the Tau are driven by their pseudo-religious philosophy called the Greater Good, which compels them to extend their dominion until their collectivist ideology encompasses the entire galaxy. They use a combination of diplomacy and calibrated military power to acquire the loyalty of other sentient species and make them partners in their cause. Although comparatively small compared to the vast territories of the Imperium, the Tau Empire poses a genuine threat to claim space on the frontier from humanity if not adequately countered. Many human worlds within the Imperium have been enticed by the allure of the greater good, forsaking the teachings of the God Emperor in favor of this appealing philosophy. Despite the enhancements the 9th edition Tau Codex provided, the army's overall approach still aligns with the gunline strategy. This means that their most potent units and abilities revolve around utilizing advanced targeting marker light beams to identify enemies and subsequently annihilate them from afar through concentrated firepower. The Tau are widely recognized for their lack of proficiency in close combat, and as a result, they take significant measures to avoid serious melee confrontations. Orcs. The Orcs are a hyper-violent species of robust, green-skinned humanoids that have coexisted with the Eldari for an extended period, making them a formidable presence in the galaxy. Their biological resilience, if not their civilization's, ensures their continued strength. Universally perceived as crude and savage by other intelligent races in the galaxy, this perception is mostly accurate. Driven by their love for violence, Orcs constantly engage in warfare with other races, even among themselves. The extraordinary adaptability and efficiency of their reproductive spores grant the Orcs a level of immunity to extinction, making them more akin to an infestation than a conventional species. The Orcs' culture revolves around instinctive, rowdy, and genuinely recreational ultraviolence, which starkly contrasts with the sophisticated machinations and political maneuvering of other races in the galaxy. Tyranids. The Tyranids are terrifying insect-like creatures, a mysterious and incalculable force of biological destruction. Emerging from the depths of space beyond our galaxy, their sole purpose is consuming all forms of life across the universe. In reality, the Tyranids are an assembly of diverse bioforms, each meticulously engineered for specific functions, all serving the commands of a physically linked hive mind. This hive mind currently poses the most formidable peril to the Imperium and every other intelligent race in the galaxy. The Tyranid threat emerges from the great abyss beyond galactic space, determined to deplete all life-sustaining planets in the Milky Way galaxy of their priceless biomass. Their ultimate goal is to perpetually enhance and evolve their species to reach new levels of prowess. Continuously adapting and learning from the strategies of each new adversary, the Imperium of Man has identified at least 9 Tyranid hive fleets entering the galaxy. Most of these hive fleets are still uncontained, while others have been shattered by significant sacrifices of life and supplies, only to have new hive fleets rise from the remains of the prior ones. Despite tremendous military efforts, there are fears that the Tyranid invasions experienced thus far are only precursors to a more incredible swarm that is currently on its way to the galaxy. If forecasts are accurate, this looming threat might be disastrous for the Imperium, which is already frail and overburdened, perhaps jeopardizing all other life forms in the galaxy. Tyranids exemplify the archetype of a Horde-style army. While deploying a limited contingent of larger creatures like the Trigon, Hexacrine, and Carnifex forms as possible, novice Tyranid players are more likely to achieve favorable outcomes with a well-rounded army composition. This would encompass substantial groups of swiftly moving Hormagaunts, formidable clusters of multi-limbed Gene Stealers, and a scattering of Termagant skirmishers functioning as powerful assault units. Leagues of Votan. Here's a bonus one. The Leagues of Votan are a reimagined version of the former squats who are known for their confrontational demeanor, bearded look, and usage of motor trikes. Introduced in September 2022, the Leagues of Votan faction retains a significant portion of the original squats lore while discarding certain aspects and augmenting it intriguingly. Despite the humanoid appearance of these revitalized squats, the Leagues are unequivocally classified as Xenos. Neither the Imperium, the Leagues themselves, nor Games Workshop itself views them as human, and they certainly do not hold any allegiance to the Emperor of Man. The Leagues of Votan exhibit a cautious, self-focused, and efficient demeanor. They have no intention of embarking on any grand campaigns akin to Crusades. Nevertheless, if they identify valuable ore on a planet, even a considerable orc presence won't hinder the mining guild's pursuit of profit. These space dwarves wield substantial power within limited distances, fully aware of their own potency. Manifold dangers of the alien. While the array of potential dangers that alien influences pose to humanity and the Imperium is diverse, the principles of the Ordo Xenos outline 5 general avenues through which these extraterrestrial entities can impact mankind. Let's explore each of these avenues in detail. The threat of discord. Possibly the most covert danger that aliens can present to the Imperium arises from their unconventional beliefs and concepts. Exposure to these influences might spark feelings of jealousy, apostasy, or even veneration, tempting humanity to veer away from the Imperial doctrine and drift into heresy and uprising. The Imperial Creed stands as the primary defense against such deviant ideologies. However, the peril of mental and moral corruption intensifies the farther one ventures from the core of Imperial civilization. The threat of temptation. Aliens might make deceitful assurances, presenting offerings of trinkets, advanced technology, or partnerships, all of which serve as appealing bait for those who are easily swayed, materialistic, or lacking in faith. History provides a disheartening record of betrayers and dissidents who have succumbed to such enticements. Equally dangerous are the uncertain riches and forgotten enigmas of long-vanished Xeno civilizations, which pose a significant threat to those who disrupt their dormant domains. The threat of corruption. Alien forces can present a danger of physical contamination and genetic distortion akin to the perils stemming from the war. This contamination can manifest as parasitism, intended either to propagate their own species or satiate their appetite, as seen with creatures like the Gene Stealer or Lacrimal. Additionally, there is the issue of transgenic defilement, encompassing the deliberate fusion of human and non-human DNA or biological material. The threat of dominion. Certain Xenos entities possess malevolent abilities to subjugate and manipulate humanity through psychic or alternative methods, potentially compelling individuals to revere them as counterfeit deities. Detested beings like the Simulacra, the Cryptos, and the Nostrifix represent concealed and artful threats, pitting humans against their own kind and treating them with little more regard than mere livestock or objects of amusement. The threat of destruction. Certain extraterrestrial beings attempt to engage in open invasion, conquest, and annihilation, employing direct methods. Similarly, certain non-sentient creatures, whether formidable predators like the dreaded Void Kakarodon, or ecologically destructive pests such as the Zothic blood locust, pose an extreme threat and must not be permitted to survive upon encounter. Marvelous verdict. That brings us to the end of this video. In the sprawling expanse of the Warhammer 40k universe, the Xeno species stand as crucial components that shape the very fabric of the narrative. They are not merely secondary characters or simple adversaries, but integral players in this dystopian future's intricate tapestry. Their existence adds complexity and depth to the layers of suspense and unease, prompting players to ponder the essence of endurance, collaboration, and strife within a universe that melds elements of science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Which Xeno race is your favorite and why? Let us know in the comments below. If you liked the video, click the button and share this video with all your friends. I'll see you in the next one.